Hello and welcome to VC Circle Podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Rai. In this episode, we'll be in conversation with Vivek Tiwari, founder of Medikabazaar. Medikabazaar is a B2B e-commerce marketplace that lets customers buy medical devices and hospital supplies directly. The startup had last secured Series B funding of $15 million in 2019 from existing and new investors, including Belgium's diversified group Ackermans. Medikabazaar was in the news recently as it planned drone delivery of critical medical supplies. Hi Vivek, welcome to our podcast and thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you, Joseph.
Cool.
It's a pleasure.
Cool. So we'll talk about your planned drone delivery in a bit, but tell us about Medikabazaar's challenges during the initial days of the lockdown first, and where does its business stand now?
During COVID, as we all know, the entire kind of situation in terms of medical supplies got completely changed. People were talking more about COVID containment and people were talking more about COVID protection. So our entire focus got shifted to create an opportunity for our customers or create a complete seamless delivery to our customers for all COVID supplies. This included primarily the PPE, personal protection equipment categories like PPE kits or masks, or similarly, a different kind of PPE, gears which are required for any kind of medical worker, to medical equipment like ventilators, because we are also one of the largest medical equipment seller in India, and ventilators of different types and different categories, which could be invasive ventilators, non-invasive ventilators, ambu bags, or even oxygen concentrators, which are required heavily by customers, especially who are home quarantined and who need certain kind of oxygen therapy support, even oxygen cylinders. So a host of other categories of product which were not so commonly used were actually very prevalent in COVID scenario. So we had to first ramp up on our supply opportunity, then also look at the delivery side of it. Because there was a huge challenge in terms of logistics efficiency all over the country. We all know we were into complete lockdown state for about 30 to 45 days. Right. After that, we started opening up partially in phases, lockdown 1.0, unlock 2.0, unlock 3.0, and so on and so forth. We are at unlock 5.0 now. We are going into 6.0. So basically in phases, it started happening. But while it was happening in phases, we all know the kind of challenges we were all going through. The movements were restricted. Only essential supplies were allowed, but there was a huge turnaround time for reaching out from one city to another. So obviously there were challenges in terms of meeting the delivery timeline and maintaining customer expectations. But we were up and running. So I think COVID was more of a learning, more of an opportunity, more of a challenge, and more of, a great experience for us.
Okay, right. So has your business reached pre-COVID levels?
Yes, we are back to pre-COVID levels. Okay. So how it happened is, let me tell you. When we started actually doing COVID supplies, our business in core medical supplies just completely, gone down to maybe 10-15% of the monthly levels, because there was no elective surgeries happening. There were no OPDs happening. Right. There were no admissions happening per se. So obviously our core medical supplies business had taken a big hit, right? But on the contrary, the COVID supplies had been picking up very fast. So we could manage that flow of business with COVID supplies. Okay. Because our customers are same, right? The hospitals were same, the doctors were same. So obviously they started ordering for more COVID products through us. So we were able to do that. Okay. But essentially the prices were hitting like very high, in terms of any given COVID product category you look at. The prices of maybe N95 mask one point in time was close to about 300 rupees. Now it's come back to maybe 50 rupees, 60 rupees kind of level now. So the prices are normalizing now. But despite of that, we are maintaining volume. But essentially, our volumes are vis-a-vis the value consideration has gone much lower. Okay. Our values are much lower than in the similar kind of supplies which are happening today. So the value has come down to maybe 1/5 or 1/6 level. You can understand that, right? Right. And then the rest of value is coming from our core medical supply business now. So we are actually hitting back to our previous levels now. So maybe, before March or, March levels, we are back to that.
So could you give us a little bit of outlook on what your expansion plans are, especially, in the coming, like, say, 6 to 8 months time frame?
We are expanding our footprint in India, knowing the fact that we need to cover directly, representing ourselves in a million plus town kind of scenario. India has close to 60 plus towns which are million plus population now as per 2021 census. It will be revealed shortly, but we work closely on demographics data in India because healthcare is omnipresent, right? Wherever you have population of people, you have some kind of medical care or healthcare for them. So we have to be aware of that fact. It's not geography centric or it's not, regional centric. While there are certain regions or geographies which are critical in healthcare spending, but you need healthcare facilities everywhere. So we need to be sure that we are presenting ourselves all over the country. So our expansion to these 60 towns are critical. Right now we are in 26 towns in India, where we are representing directly with our central distribution centers and fulfillment centers. But we are also thinking of a hub and spoke model, like a satellite model into smaller cities and towns, where we are creating levers of supply efficiency, same business day delivery, which is very common in e-commerce like SPD or NBD, next business day delivery, maintaining TAT with our customers, looking the urgency in terms of certain critical medical products like blood products or vaccines or stents or a different kind of implants which are needed for certain critical cases. So considering all of these challenges, we need to be as close to customers as we want to. And obviously we need to also think of our infrastructure cost and all. So we are working in a hybrid model where certain centers or CDCs, FCs are directly being, managed by us. Certain are managed by our partner channel, which is like a last mile opportunity, like our distribution opportunity. So basically we are working on a mix to represent ourselves in around 60 towns in coming 6 to 9 months from now. That's a massive growth opportunity which we are looking at. Apart from domestic market, we are also getting a lot of customers from international markets like Africa, Middle East, Southeast Asia, as well as few customers coming in from South America and more so underdeveloped countries also, who are looking for different kind of medical supplies, but they may not have the actual resources to get them. So we are working closely with these customers directly from India. We recently set up our overseas office in UAE. And we are looking to expand more to other markets just to make sure that we are able to be as close to our international customers also.
Medikabazaar has tied up with Zipline for drone delivery of medicine and critical supplies recently. So how is that shaping up and how do you see this helping scale up your business?
Right now we signed the contract with Zipline, but it's not operational yet because Zipline is also awaiting certain licenses from the government of India to carry on their drone flight operations. I think it will be granted to them in about 3 to 4 months now. That is what we are really looking at. Once they have that in place, obviously it creates a different kind of opportunity for us, especially who are into medical supplies opportunity and catering to smaller cities or towns or catering to places which are not so easily covered by land or by road per se. Obviously the hilly regions and areas and especially the far-flung areas like rural areas which are not so well covered by road or by land will benefit immensely with this kind of an opportunity. Especially at times when we are looking at COVID and we are looking at vaccine distribution in India, I think this collaboration will actually give us great support in terms of reaching out to our target group of customers, especially the rural customers, the rural clinics, centers. The people will get immensely benefited by delivery of vaccines in those areas. I think this is a great opportunity for this particular time. And this is where Zipline and Medikabazaar partnership opportunity will actually bring a lot of respite to people living in those conditions or areas which are not so easily well covered by road. And we all know that vaccine is a temperature controlled product. So you need to maintain temperature from the point of production to point of delivery. In such a scenario, if you maintain a longer so-called transit time, it is not really good for a category like vaccine. So if you can reduce the transit time and you can use channels like drones or you can use, certain effective, low time consuming channels, it will be a great support to, vaccine kind of a delivery model.
Give us some color on your revenues and your FY19, filings show that your net sales had doubled to over 50 crore. And what does EBITDA look like, and how do you see that, improving, especially the pressure on EBITDA now because of expansion?
Sure. So let me tell you the difference between net sales and the GMV first. Mm-hmm. So as an e-commerce company or as an e-commerce enterprise, we are considered about our gross merchandise value, which is our GMV, right? Mm-hmm. Now, we are a hybrid model. We are a model between our inventory-based fulfillment as well as sellers marketplace fulfillment. Mm-hmm. When we talk of both inventory and sellers marketplace, obviously, it has to be a mix of both. Mm-hmm. So what happens is when there is a seller-based fulfillment happening for a particular order or a delivery, that part of business is known as GMV, business, or maybe the GMV contribution. Mm-hmm. And once we fulfill the product through our own inventory, through our own invoice being generated to a customer with the GST, which is transferred from our side to the customer side, then in that particular business is known as inventory-based model. Mm-hmm. So our revenue, which is shown in our filing, is basically a representation on our revenue only, and not the GMV. GMV is a schedule which is given in the balance sheet if you actually see that. Mm-hmm. So basically in the last year, we were close to about all put together about $70 million in GMV, all put together. Mm-hmm. And in the coming year, in the year 2020, financial year 2020 and 21, we are targeting to double our revenue base and more than that, in fact, and make it to close to about $160 to $170 million. Okay. We have taken a bit of hit because of the COVID, because essentially we have to take that hit also. The medical supplies business was not fully on. Right. So basically we are doubling ourselves, and more than that, in fact, we are 2.5x kind of revenue growth happening. The GMV growth happening rather per se, if I can tell you. Mm-hmm. But revenue is essentially, like the direct inventory fulfillment, what we are doing, plus the GMV commission, what we get as a platform. Okay. So adding these two will actually show on our balance sheet, but GMV is the total sales which are generated on the platform, which is a mix of our inventory as well as the marketplace one. Okay. So this is where we are right now.
Cool. So what do you think are the factors that will drive your next round of fundraise? You have raised a significant amount of money, and you've got some, good investor names on your cap table.
The next round of funding is essentially meant to bring scale in the business. We have proven our model in the market. Mm-hmm. We are largest in the category. We have developed good, kind of processes, systems around the business, what we are doing. Mm-hmm. In fact, our technology has been also taking good shape from just being a business technology company to a product technology company. Also, we recently launched our product Vizi in the market. That was in the March this year. We are getting good traction of Vizi because Vizi is more like an intuitive platform which gives an alert to a lot of customers based on their inventory levels, what they're supposed to buy, where they're high inventory, whether they have low inventory, and all of that. So I think Vizi is giving a great support to customers who are not so well managed on the system side, or the customers who are not spending too much on technology, or who don't have capability to spend so much on technology. I think Vizi just as a SaaS tool will change the way they function, or healthcare procurement is done. That is how we are spending our money to develop more such technology products. We are also looking at getting more downstream into technology integration with hospitals beyond the stores, like we're getting into various departments in hospital. That is where we are working and doing a lot of technology R&D right now. Okay. So our next round of funding is essentially meant to be in technology, meant to be in infrastructure, as I told you about 60 cities representation. Right. Meant to open our international footprint in business beyond India, looking at UAE, Southeast Asia, Africa, and so on and so forth, like kind of global expansion we are looking at. Mm-hmm. And also a lot of hiring and building our team in place, right? Okay. So funding is imminent now, and we need to raise fund, and we are actually trying to do that. Okay. But yes, this capital is primarily meant to give us a very strong impetus in terms of our growth trajectory.
Okay.
So that is what we are looking at right now.
Have you formally started the process to raise the fund, and how much are you looking to raise?
We are in the process and in the discussion to raise about $70 to $75 million, which is our Series C level of funding. But we just launched, our process. So it's very initial discussion what we are going through. Nothing formally has been decided.
All right.
But going forward, yes, we'll keep you updated on the progress. But as you know that post-COVID things are getting back to normal. So obviously we also need some time to find the right set of investors, or investors need to evaluate our business model. So it is a time-taking process. It's not something which can be concluded in a short time.
Right. We understand. So thank you, Vivek, for speaking with us. And that's all we have in this edition of VC Circle podcast. Thank you all for listening. Take care and goodbye.